Innovation is one of those wonderful words. Everyone's using it at the moment. It's on every company's mission statement. It's on the mouths of politicians. But what is it? The challenge in innovation really is about converting good ideas, wherever they come from, into practice. The first challenge, of course, is what we mean by innovation. And say that word to most people and bing, it's like the cartoons. You know, light bulb flashes on, that's fine, but that's actually invention. That's the first part of a journey, but innovation is about much more than just that initial light bulb moment. What are you going to innovate in? And again, it's very easy to think of a new car or a new perfume or something like that. That's what we would call product innovation. And we can sort of get our heads around new services, a better way of shopping on the internet, for example. But there's lots of other ways of innovating. You can, for example, innovate in the way you create and deliver whatever you offer. It's what's normally called process innovation. And you can take a lot of the waste out of the way you currently do it. But there's other ways of innovating as well, and perhaps these are the ones where the real frontier lies at the moment. One of them, of course, is in the marketplace. Who do you actually sell your innovation to, and what's the story you tell them? So it's all about the brand, the markets you talk to, the geography, and sometimes it's about opening up markets that don't exist yet. And I suppose the last and perhaps the most challenging way is you can change the way you think about the business you're in. So there's quite a big arena in which to play for innovation. I think we've got a lot of challenges in terms of competing in the world economy, which we're up to, but might require us to think very differently and to manage our innovation. We've got some very big issues in the public sector, which are going to come and challenge us come what may. How do you provide for an increasingly aging population? How do you provide educational opportunities if we are going to be a knowledge economy? How do we deal with the sustainability challenge in resources, in energy, dealing with climate change? These are all innovation issues. And in a sense, the challenge isn't just throwing money at them or saying those wonderful innovation words. We've actually got to manage that process. We've got to have a clear strategy and a way of deploying that strategy, actually making it happen.
Why is the UK a good environment for innovation? I think it is generally a pretty good environment for innovation. I think there are a set of reasons that matter. I think probably the single most important is having great research base, so fantastic universities. Based in the US, so I work out in Stanford in California, in Silicon Valley. It's very clear that a lot of the innovation there is a derivative of universities. So Stanford and Berkeley are right next door to each other. Companies like Google, Hewlett-Packard, Facebook, Intel, Sun Microsystems are all around the corner. In fact, Sun stands for Stanford University Network. It was directly spun off the university. So the UK has that. I worry a bit looking ahead with the funding cuts in the UK, whether that's going to be damaged. So you can imagine if you start to take money away from the elite British universities, research falls back, innovation drops back. Another big factor is going to be language. There's not much we can do about it. I mean, it's a good factor for us, but by historical accident, English is just the dominant international language, particularly in research. Frankly, being open. So, Britain's very open. If you walk around London, it's obvious how cosmopolitan it is. We look at our best and largest companies. Many of them are foreign-owned. And then finally, I think something that helps that's close to my heart is the R&D tax credit. So in Britain in 2002, something I worked on when I was in Treasury, they introduced an R&D tax credit, which gives firms some tax back if they spend in R&D. So every $100 you spend in R&D, you get about $10 back. That's been very helpful for persuading research labs to locate in the UK.
We're finding that increasingly research and development and innovation is global. It's happening not just in the developed economies of North America, Western Europe and Japan, but increasingly in the emerging markets of India, China, Russia, South Africa, and so on. The amount of innovation activity coming into the UK from elsewhere is greater than the amount of activity that's exported. That suggests the vibrancy of the UK as a place to do innovation, and it also suggests that it's highly networked with the rest of the global economy.
Britain's leading companies such as GSK, Tesco, Rolls-Royce and so forth, these are companies that have been leaders for many years. And when you scratch the surface in terms of what has made them success, what you realise is that success is predicated on a deep capacity for innovation. Innovation not just in terms of the products and services they offer, but innovation with regard to the business models they use to deliver those products and services, and their management models, the very way that they work, which also is a sort of an underlying strength which allows them to be successful and innovative over many, many years.
As the world changes and customers demand new things, or as new technologies come up and compete with them, unless they're adaptive and flexible, what they find themselves doing is becoming more and more efficient at doing something that gets less and less important. So the first lesson is, at the firm level, is to be open to these external threats and opportunities. The second issue is to try and invest in what is coming in the future. Don't reduce your investment in R&D, in long-term thinking, in understanding what new business markets are going to produce for you.
Tesco has been extremely successful in terms of its innovation with incredibly strong management. Tesco are prepared to take risks in markets overseas, and in addition it's very nimble when it gets into those markets. It's responded extremely well to local consumer cultures, so they've kind of been very clever about looking very specifically at local market conditions.
I think we shouldn't also forget the public sector. The challenges of running an effective public sector in the 21st century are huge, in delivering education, in law and order, in healthcare, and some of the innovations that have gone on there are most impressive.
The companies that have been successful as innovators, they have an internal ability to make the best of the potential that's there, empowering the people in the organisation, using the ideas that they have, but also an understanding of what there is outside and how we can innovate and go further. Very often I think our routines and work processes tend to try and keep us within the tracks, whereas very often with innovation you have to be thinking about driving off the tracks and trying to explore the potential that there is.
Survivors aren't necessarily the most intelligent or the most agile, it's the ones that adapt best to a complex environment.
Innovation is simply the flip side of competition. In a competitive industry, you have no choice but to innovate, because if you don't, your competitors will.